Cool.
Yay. Welcome today to my reinstatement of Patriot Princess. And I am very excited to have here my first official guest, DJ James Nasty, who also goes by James Patrick. He is an ecstatic dance DJ in Baltimore, and I had the pleasure of attending an event where he DJ'd the other night and literally couldn't leave without going up, introducing myself, talking to him, and asking him to come on my podcast and talk about music and ecstatic dance and the movement. And here he is. So thank you, James, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to open real quick with, and I haven't done this a lot in the past because my role as a shaman and a starseed has been heavily contested in my personal life, and I was kind of hiding all of that behind the scenes. And now it's like, this is what we're here for. This is the medicine. So I'm going to do just a little ceremonial opening here.
Okay.
And I am going to light our white candle for our consciousness. This is actually, oh, I love that I grabbed this one. This is a spirit candle from Gettysburg that has witness wood from the witness tree where Lincoln's funeral procession
Whoa.
went by. And Lincoln is a spirit that comes through for me quite regularly in talking about how disagreement doesn't have to be division, and how certain topics in this country have literally gone to the point of creating civil war, where we're pitting families against each other because they can't talk about something without literally having to go to war over it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to welcome in the spirit of Abraham Lincoln. I am going to welcome in our angels of the highest love and light, our spirit guides and ancestors of the highest love and light. We thank you for the guidance and the sacrifices that you've made so that we could be here today. We ask you to be here with us, be in the, ooh, my crown chakra just got all tingly, to be with us today as we discuss very important topics about what real medicine is and what movements like music and dance can bring in a sense of healing and unity and community to this country in a time where division is just so existent and unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Yes.
Unnecessary. Let's talk about how we can implement practices to make that go away. So we thank you, and we allow you to move through us and work through us and deliver us whatever messages and downloads and transmissions the listeners of this episode need to hear, because that's what we are. We're big old channels, right?
Yeah.
So let our channels flow with love and positivity and whatever important information we need to bring today. Aho. I've got some myrrh burning too.
Okay. I love the smell of myrrh.
Me too. And I always have to laugh when people are like, oh, that's what the 3 wise men brought to baby Jesus when he was born. And I'm like, they did. Number one, they weren't just wise men. They were mystics. They were magicians. And they brought myrrh because plants are magic people.
Right. Yeah.
Literal magic.
They were more than just wise men. Their identities just got dumbed down for
right.
the reason.
And I also, I went today for a tattoo consultation. I'm gonna, I'll tell you this and then hand it over to you. And the one guy I was talking to, incredible artist, and he was doing an amazing portrait of Yeshua with these pine trees and this light and this fire. It was all very like symbolic for me too. And he kept talking about next year, you won't get into my chair until this time next year, and I book ahead in advance and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, obviously this is not going to work for us, but he goes, I don't know why I keep saying next year. It's still 2025. And I was like, well, technically it is because we're on a Gregorian calendar and the new year
Yeah,
really doesn't start till the end of February into March. So your soul knows that it's not
yeah.
2026
Your
yet.
soul knows that the new cycle of life has not begun yet.
Right? And he just kind of looked at
Yeah.
me like, okay, lady. I'm like, he's in tune, but doesn't know he's in tune.
Right.
So I love to have like just a very free flow conversation and kind of let it go where it needs to go. So I'm going to just
Okay.
throw out that opening of like, tell me a little bit about your background and what drew you to music to begin with.
Huh. I grew up in like a DC suburb, pretty close to the University of Maryland, College Park.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I guess like from as an early as age as I could remember, it was just music was always something that I recognized the power of.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I resonate.
yeah, I one of the realizations I had not too long ago was thinking back to sometimes on like a Friday or Saturday night, my dad would step out back and then he'd come inside and he'd put some music on and just kind of like lay on the couch and just like vibe out.
Now, when
And
you say step out back,
we can all read between the
right?
lines there, you know. And that was
We're
a
very,
realization.
as
Like I'm
I'm,
an adult. I'm like, oh, that's what he was
that's what he
doing.
was doing.
Oh wait, I've done that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Part of my story is also that my father was a DJ before I was born, and he picked it up again right around the time that I was in high school and all that. Um, and he was like the cool DJ dad, and all my friends wanted to like be DJ and like be friends with my dad. But then like if I showed interest in it, he was like, "Don't touch my gear, you'll break it." Um, but
Children were a
I,
nuisance instead of a teaching utility.
I think he wanted to protect me from a lifestyle.
Mm.
Um, I
What kind
played.
of DJ was he?
I think
Just
before I
like
was
club
born, he
DJ?
was kind of. I mean, it was like the '70s, so it was like weird disco things or whatever. You know, he was also really secretive about what that part of his life was like before I
Yeah.
was born. I know that he did like it was like him and a friend did parties at military bases all through the state.
Ooh, interesting.
So like I don't know if it was like military exclusive or that was just like the halls where promoters were renting and having parties, but you know, it sounds like he was living somewhat of a party boy lifestyle in probably one of the best eras to be a party boy, like the late '70s. Um, I don't know.
I think it's interesting to hear you talk about that, and that might be part of the reason I was so drawn to you because my dad was very musical. Both my parents were very musical. My mom, like on the classical side, growing up,
Okay.
played like the violin and stuff and the piano. My dad was very into dancing and theater and performing arts. And I remember when I was cleaning out my parents' house, um, after my mom's stroke, it was like a hoarder's paradise. His like stereos, his record players, his earphones. Like
Yeah.
he used to go into the garage, which I didn't find out until I was an adult. What do you think your father was doing in the garage out there? My mom used to say
Right.
he could not fix a damn thing. He was not out there being handy. Your dad was out there taking hits off his bong. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he had
okay.
one device out there that he could take
Yeah,
care
yeah. And we
of.
used to dance in the living room on Sunday nights there was like
Nice.
an oldies request station when I was little, and we would call in and request certain songs, and I would dance on his feet in the living room. So my
Nice.
dad was very much a connection for music and dancing for me
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and lived a party boy lifestyle that I did not find out about until I was much older.
Right. They're good at hiding those things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I played. How old was I? I think third grade. I started with the clarinet in like school band, and then maybe fifth or sixth grade is like puberty started to descend upon me. I was like, you know what? I need to play an instrument that's going to get all the girls' attention. The clarinet is not doing it for me. So I think in fifth or sixth grade, I switched to alto saxophone. I still have that saxophone to this day. And then in high school, I got tired of playing saxophone in high school band. And I think it was like 10th grade that I went extra rogue and just went out and bought a guitar. And was like, saxophone's not enough. Like I need more attention from the girls. I'm gonna get a saxophone or a guitar. So I
Guitar gets
learned.
the ladies.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I taught myself to play the guitar at like 16. Uh, Graduated high school, went off to college, joined a band. I played in a couple different bands in college. They never really amounted to much. It was one of those things where like it's hard to get. How do you get five people all on the same page? Like five guys that all have the same goals,
Mm-hmm.
that are willing to put the same amount of energy into like achieving those goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
It
the
can be
first
like
time.
herding cats.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Again, you take a bunch of 18, 19-year-old boys, like their priorities are not necessarily about like, I want to make a living playing music. They're like, I want to play music for girls' attention. I want to play music for whatever other reasons. But at 18, I was already like, no, like, this is the first steps of my journey of like figuring out how to do this for a living. Like, I want to be able to support myself, take care of all my needs off of money I make from making music. Um,
You're an old soul, so you were a rare breed at that
for sure,
at
yeah,
that age, yeah. And it's
yeah,
when you think about musicians too, especially naturally talented musicians, you're so creative that yeah, without someone to like manage collectively this small group of young people who are all very creative, it's very easy to
yeah, yeah. Um, so then also in college, I ended up sort of stretching out the degree program I was in to also take some classes in musical engineering and like the recording arts,
cool.
which was also great because I got a bunch of free studio time and was able to just like wrangle up any random friends that wanted to get in front of a microphone and sing or rap, or any people that played instruments just wanted to jam. And I spent like the last few years of college, like if I wasn't trying to actually do the work I was supposed to be doing or partying, like I spent a lot of time in the recording studio just letting all the ideas flow out of me and taking
Mm-hmm.
advantage of all those resources that were available to me.
Oh, see, that's what I need now. I'm over here
Yeah.
with like my keyboard and my guitar and all these drums and stuff, and I'm like, does anybody want to play music with me? Who wants to
Yeah.
jam?
Who wants to jam? Yeah.
That's what we're missing these days is more like drum circles and just like jamming and like music in the streets.
Yes, absolutely. I think part of it is by design. This like the system we live in
Mm-hmm.
hates us having free time. It hates us having a free time, especially if that free time is going to be used for us to come together, to create and collaborate, and see that we're all more like each other than we are different.
Yes. I have a soapbox. Would you like to join me on it? And that
Yeah.
is we have been programmed to be human doings instead of
Yes,
human beings, and
absolutely.
literally intentionally put in this cycle where the focus is go, 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 go. You got to work a 9 to 5 for somebody else. So somebody else can be a millionaire. So
Someone
you
else can
are
profit off of your time
stressed
and energy.
out. You're not focused on your family. You're not focused on bringing joy into your life because work, 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 work is the only thing you have to do. And we've made it, especially in America, like I keep saying, what are the three best ways to jack up a population of people is to mess with their food, their shelter,
Yes,
and their their water,
their water
and
and their
those
air and their
and their
oxygen.
air and which is like completely related to the food and what's going into the soil.
Hmm.
And what is happening in America? Our food's poison, our water is full of chemicals. Both of those things make us unable to literally think clearly, and it's
Yeah,
so incredibly expensive to have affordable housing, and our food is expensive, and we have to pay for water
we
instead
have to
of
pay
being
for
able
it.
to get it from natural sources. So all of the things that we're told we need to survive on a regular basis have become so inaccessible and expensive that all anybody can focus on is working and barely making enough money to afford those things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
where is the time for
Hmm.
making music, co-creating, having joy? Like, it
Yes,
disappears.
yes. They want us just well enough that we can make it to work and put in our 8 hours. And they want us just sick enough that when we're done with those 8 hours, we don't have the energy to do anything else except for go home and crash, ideally in front of a television where they can just feed us propaganda.
And in front of a television watching, what do they call them? Programs.
Programs.
Where they're
Yep.
just continuing to program you
Hmm.
into more stuff that you need, medications that you need to take,
Ask your
and
doctor
like,
about blood. Like, don't ask your
yes,
doctor because he's
I,
just going to tell you, like, yeah, sure, take it, whatever. I get paid from this.
right? And it's done on purpose. I was talking to somebody the other day. I met this couple. I went snowboarding on New Year's Day, which I haven't been in 7 years since I got engaged and had kids. And
Hmm.
it is one of those fun things that going through spiritual awakening, I've actually been able to go back and tie like all of my injuries to certain events. And the last time I went snowboarding was like right after I'd blown out my ACL and I
Oh,
had to have surgery. And so I had like a season off, and then I got married, and then COVID, and then kids, and anyway, long story short, I fell a bunch, but I did more in that day picking up on my own, like how to move and get through it, than I did in years with somebody else
mm.
trying to teach me what to do. But I met this couple at the end, and the gentleman, they have a whole very aligned backstory, but he brought up seeing a commercial for a medication that was like, if your antidepressant isn't working, here's another medication that you can pile on top of your antidepressant that it's going to make your antidepressant more effective. And it's like, I need an antidepressant for my
Your
antidepressant.
antidepressants.
Right? What
Your
is,
antidepressants are depressed enough that they also need
yes,
antidepressants.
yes. And then you get to the end and it's like, may cause diarrhea, bowel blockage, aneurysm, blah, 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 death, and
Yeah.
suicide. And it's like, oh,
Oh,
okay, all right. And
oh
that's
my
what it
God.
is. It's soul death. It's
Yeah.
literally all the stuff that they put on us is soul death and band-aid.
Yeah.
And it keeps you out of your creative brain, which is necessary to make beautiful music, to make art, to make joy. And I know we're getting off topic here, but I do that.
All good.
Tying the alcoholism that's rampant in this country into all of that is actually part of how I got back into dancing, because I stopped drinking, because I got sober, because I cut out all the
Same.
meds, I got sober,
Same.
found my passion for art and dancing and music again. And through the years of substance abuse that I lived through, just to it's trying to feel normal again. It's
Hmm.
like you see so many people that are like, oh, well, it's a social lubricant. I use it so that I am comfortable being relaxed in public. And it's like, you see so many people that get to a state when they first, in that like first few little bits of consuming alcohol, they get relaxed, they get happy, they're joyful. That is usually more aligned with their normal
Yeah. That's
personality.
that part is in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's before the alcohol is actually doing the work
Mm-hmm.
on your physical and your spiritual, and
Yep.
then
And then it starts really, then you
yeah,
keep going because you think that feeling is coming from the
yeah,
alcohol, and you
yeah,
keep going and going, going, and then the spiritual comes in. And I,
yeah.
are you familiar with Dr. Samuel Lee?
No, not by name.
He's a, I think his handle is the spiritual psychiatrist.
Okay.
He is he's a board certified psychiatrist, but went through basically all of the psychiatric diagnoses himself, experienced them firsthand, and had this like massive spiritual awakening right before he was about to become partner at his practice, because he was so miserable, and like went and locked himself in an Airbnb for like years, and went completely inward, and is like this complete spiritual antenna. He teaches a lot of the Kalonics, like reverse aging,
Oh,
and
okay.
activating your 12 stranded DNA, like literally like your alien DNA.
Hmm.
And he has done a whole segment, which this came to me early in my spiritual awakening too, but talking about how alcohol literally fragments your soul and fragments spirit, and literally keeps you disconnected from source,
Yes.
and like being able to
Yes.
get in touch with that source inside of you. Kingdom of
Yes.
heaven is within, and it fragments you. And every time you get intoxicated, not just like a glass of wine in a ceremonial sense, but like in that over intoxication, it literally like pulls soul death and
It
pulls,
separates. Yeah, it
yeah,
separates you from.
and allows that negative energy in. And that
Yeah.
for me was part of my like turn off in the club scene, in dancing, in getting into those environments,
Hmm.
because everybody there is so intoxicated that it turns from a joyful experience into, oh shit, I was dancing with that guy and all of a sudden I got aroused, and now the next morning you're like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah. What did I
And
do? Where
what did
am I?
I do? What happened? Whose yard am
Yeah.
I in? Where are my pants? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those are the times that it's like we used to look at them and laugh at them, and like some of it I can look back at and be like, oh my gosh, but really taking a step back and look at some of those decisions, especially in college, that I made, that are like, oh, this is what they want us doing, because it also leads to those decisions where you are getting intimate with people you wouldn't otherwise get intimate with, and pulling on their karma, and then holding on to that womb trauma physically in your tissue, and they're
Hmm.
taking these experiences with music and dance and joy that we should be growing from, and turning it into something that is literally creating negativity and trauma in
It's
our tissue.
it's yeah. It's destructive. It's dissonant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved Finding Ecstatic Dance after my awakening, because if you're watching this and you're not familiar with ecstatic dance in general, pretty much every event I've seen is a sober event.
Yes.
And it's like a quiet event. There's no phones in the middle of it. There's no people taking videos and pictures. There's no alcohol. There's like, you're literally in a safe space where you are free to move your body, move the energy through you with like minded people who are there to do the
Hmm.
same thing. And the energy is just
Oh.
so good.
Hmm.
So good. So tell me how you went, because you told me before we did, disclaimer for our viewers, we did a little few minute pre-chat, and you mentioned you started out kind of as a club DJ.
Yeah. I still am. Not as
Yeah.
much as I was in the past, but I still. It's still a part of how I support myself financially.
How does it feel for you being in the club scene, being sober, and knowing the difference between like an ecstatic dance scene versus like a typical like bar club scene?
So I didn't get sober and start doing ecstatic dances at the same time.
Okay. Which came
Um,
first?
ecstatic dance came first in
Okay.
about 2019. Sobriety became like a permanent thing for me in 2023.
When all of us like star seeds are coming online, when we're all like
Yes.
really getting
Yeah.
activated and yeah.
So in 2019, when like I was introduced to ecstatic dance by a friend in Colorado, and we started having them here in Baltimore, it was like a switch flipped. It was like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. I'm gonna come back to that, but I'll answer
Okay.
the question
Put a
first.
pin
The
in it.
question, the I, I'm such a huge lover of music that the venue itself and the people there don't always matter. I'm just there to like do the thing. I
Okay.
can always
I love
I
that.
can always still find the fulfillment in just being able to do the thing. Seeing people happy, seeing people dancing and having a good time. So I've been able to still get myself like hyped or whatever to go do a club gig because I still just enjoy the art.
Mm-hmm.
Um the club DJing is not as fulfilling and some nights I don't feel like getting up and going to do it. There was a period of time where before I found sobriety that it was more just like a job. It was like I just have to go do this club gig because I need to pay rent. Um, so it was that part plus the substance abuse involved in working in nightlife, where it's like you walk in the
Mm-hmm.
door and everyone just starts handing you your favorite drink, and I'm like, I need this to get through this anyways. It's like I got lost at one point where just like the club DJ world was just about the substance abuse and like the ego stroke and
Mm-hmm.
the music was not the main thing to it. Once I got sober, then I had to go back to like all I have is the music here. I'm back to just doing this because I love the music. It's
Yes.
not as fulfilling as an ecstatic dance or any other conscious event like that, conscious dance event, but I can still find some fulfillment in it. Like I've DJ'd weddings through my entire career. I
Which
would say
amazing.
I would say wedding DJing is the least fulfilling type of DJing, but it can still be fulfilling. There's still like you walk away and after you're done getting yelled at by the bride's mom, and after you're done telling the bridesmaids 7 times, like, look, I understand you want to hear Taylor Swift, but this is not your wedding and this is not your moment, and that this is not the right this is not the right time for us to play this song.
Yeah.
And you're done telling the drunk uncle, like, hey, dude, I understand you want to hear Afro Man right now, but, like, again, Afro Man is not appropriate wedding music. Like, once you're done, like, all the managing of the different people and the personalities, you can look back and be like, I got to, like, soundtrack this very special moment for, like, two people and their families, and, like, it was cool to like the little weird moments where like the bride and groom are like talking to people, they're not dancing, and a song comes on and they look around and like I gotta find them, and they
Yeah.
like find themselves and they make their way to the dance floor, and they have like those like 3 or 4 times in the wedding where it's just like the two of them and they're dancing. And it's like these are memories they're gonna hold on to. They took a vow to stay forever. It's not always gonna be forever, but like being trusted to be a part of such a special moment for a group of people, like that's the fulfilling part, but
I love I
it's
love
not.
that. It's so funny thinking about just like my DJ at my wedding. I digress. I just got divorced for anybody that doesn't know
Mm.
that about me, and if you're just joining this podcast, which I haven't done it in a while, so probably most people are just
Yeah.
joining. We hired, my ex and I got married in our backyard. We did a home like DIY wedding and had a limited budget, and we hired a guy who went his DJ handle was Bald White Guy. He went by
Oh no.
BWG, and we found him because my ex's sister did a lot of PTA stuff at her kid's school, and he was
Okay.
like a DJ that did all kinds of stuff for like the elementary school and the middle school, and which I have to say I'm very intrigued by. Like, I want to get into playing music for kids in a very like healthy, energetic way, and teaching
Yeah.
kids about dancing and music and fun. And but
Yeah.
he also made his own original music, which I now have a totally different respect for, and he rapped, which I also have complete respect for, because I am a hip hop soul. I
Okay.
have always been into hip hop and rap, and like my mom literally in the 7th grade was like, "Can you please take the naked black man off your wall before the family comes over for Christmas?" And the
Is
naked
it
black
50 Cent?
man was
50 Cent?
Tupac.
Oh,
No, it was
Tupac.
Tupac.
I was like, it's
And it
either
was
Tupac or
his
50.
it was Tupac with his thug life shirtless with his thug life
Yeah.
tattoo looking to the side. And he comes through to me all the time because my soul actually wants to make hip hop music. I've actually done a couple of like spoken
Mm.
word pieces, and I've been writing a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I dated a white rapper in college, and like it's been in me, and it is like literally clawing at the surface
On
to
its way out.
come out. And a lot of it for me too is a very like indigenous style, with my like roots coming through.
Yeah.
But he broke out, back to the wedding DJ, he broke out in an original rap of his own in the middle of our reception, which he didn't tell us he was gonna do. And it was like this like it was like an awkward moment where we're like, is our wedding DJ rapping in the middle of our reception? It's
Why is he
fine.
doing
We're
this?
just gonna go with it. It's okay. But I'll tell you what, I still remember the song, and it's still stuck in my head. It was catchy AF. Still
Wow.
remember it. This is our arrival. Still remember. But I've known a lot of wedding DJs. Like I
Yeah.
said, I dated a white rapper in college in South Carolina. And so it was like, for me, I was immersed in it was the Bible Belt, but he ran a small record label, and it was
Okay.
all actually there was one group of white guys that were like backwoods country. They were awesome. But it was black artists, and I was immersed in black culture, but basically told like, I want you to be corporate Barbie. I want you to dress like the business lady and be
Yeah.
like serious, and like you're just going to be the girl that at the door that works it and takes money for me because I don't trust anybody else to handle my money. And so it felt like a very like chaining experience for me,
Hmm.
and that is something that has come through for me, that I'm really breaking those right now to kind of
Yeah.
like emerge as my own musical artist and share my own desires
Being
in
able
that
to express
respect.
yourself. Yeah. And not just the
Yeah.
business.
But all his friends that were wedding DJs were like, weddings are the worst. Like, if I have to play the electric slide one more time.
Yes. The playlist is so limited because you have such a like random selection of people.
Yeah. So my experience in ecstatic dance thus far, I did some in Amsterdam when I was there, and it really,
Okay.
like, when I came to your event the other night, it was very much, I was a little late, but it was very much for me the same experience of being in a club. It's just like what people are requesting and what you want to hear, and like what the vibe, like kind of the vibe is. But I feel like ecstatic dance, it's a journey.
Yes.
Like
It's
when I
supposed to
go
be.
into those events, right, it is a journey through music. How is it different for you putting together an ecstatic dance set versus what you would play in like a club gig?
I don't put together a set.
Oh, okay.
I've
I love that. Is it more like intuitive for you as you're
it's
playing?
it's very intuitive. I guess
As it should
when
be.
when my first DJ gigs were very much just like playing like club nights where it's like you're the opener. Like I was just playing house music mostly, just like an opening hour or two of house music. And back then, it was like at first it was like, oh, this was also like vinyl DJing. So it was like you planned your set. Like, all right, I've got an hour. I'm bringing these records with me. And then the world of digital DJing opened up, where you had access to thousands of songs at any given moment. And I also got more into like the world of open format DJing, which is just like any genre. It's just like from 10 to 2, your job is to read the room and play to the people there. And I was like trying to do both of like the specialized genre thing and also the open format thing. And I just learned pretty early on that like when you plan a set, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me as an artist, and it didn't really work for the people there. It's like you're trying to force something on a room full of people. Like it works when you go to see a band, but I have never been a fan of DJs that play or that plan their sets in advance. I think you're supposed to be there in the moment with the people. I've always believed it's a conversation back and forth. You're like, all right, I'm going to play this song. And you're watching the reactions. Like, okay, people are kind of into this. Let's try 2 or 3 songs that fit with this and see if this is the mood for right now. And you've got to be ready to just go in a different direction when you see, like, this isn't really working.
Yeah.
So I don't really plan ecstatic dance sets. When I first started, I did read the like guidelines for what an ecstatic set is supposed to be like, the different stages of the journey. And I still follow those guidelines, but I don't have a plan for like this song into this song into this song. I have a collection of music that I have organized based on the different stages of the journey. And, anytime I step up to play, I'm like, all right, well, let's try this one. This also fits. All right, we'll do it this way. Then also, like, the intuitive part is recognizing when the room is ready to move on to the next stage of the journey.
Yes. Oh, I love
Like,
that.
yeah. In your 90-minute to 2-hour, like, ecstatic dance set, you're not always going to try to hit the climax at the exact same time. Some nights, everyone's bodies are just more loose and they're more in their bodies and they're ready to get to the climax sooner than other nights. And then those are the times like, all right, we'll hit a climax. I'll bring people back down. Like, all right, well, we've got enough time to like go back up the mountain again and hit another climax before we end this. Sometimes,
I love the
sometimes
way you
when,
describe that.
yeah, sometimes just like people have so much things that they need to shed that like you don't even really get to like a full 20 to 30 minutes of like a climactic ecstatic dance experience. It's sort of like, we're going to go there for like 10 minutes and then I'm going to bring everyone back down. Everyone probably needs a longer cool off than normal. You know, our
I'm
event
gonna
here,
go ahead, keep going.
our event here in Baltimore is like only once a month. So like a lot of times, I would say we're like a third are regulars. 2/3 is usually like people that are like their first or second time. And just also like the world we live in right now. We're just being bombarded with awful, crazy news all the time. And a lot of times people come to the dance like looking for place to process the things that are going on in their personal life and process what's going on in the world. And sometimes like that is heavier than other times and people are not just already light when they come into the room and ready to
Yeah.
climb
Yeah.
the mountain.
Your description of the mountain is so poignant for me right now. I'm going to read you this because I also like one of my gifts is synchronicities. Like I am able to take that bird's eye view and look at how all the little pieces are affecting one another. You can't treat what you have to treat the whole. Like you can't just like we were talking about big pharma and medication. It's a band-aid to just treat whatever a symptom is instead of actually getting to the root of whatever a problem is.
Yeah.
Ooh, can you still see me?
Yeah.
There we go. My antivirus protection came up, which, right? But while you were talking about that, and this is, people get overwhelmed with me sometimes because I'm the synchronicity lady. And they're
Okay.
like, not everything means something. And I'm like, no, but
Everything does mean something.
everything means something. Everything is energy. Everything means something.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were just talking about that, I got a message from another group I'm in called the Soul Purpose Tribe. And somebody said, stay positive, my friends. Love is everything and everywhere. Just be open to accepting it. And if you are comfortable, and I think it had an 1111 picture with it. Yeah. Angel number meaning love, manifestation, twin flame, and money. You and I, when we talked the other night, got into a very spiritual based conversation, and we've kind of touched on some stuff here, which not everybody is awake to yet. And part of the reason I am finally stepping out and talking about all this stuff is because my spirit guides too are like, hi, you carry codes that you're here to talk about this stuff to help people go, oh, this is what's happening. And I've always been the person that talks about the uncomfortable stuff where I'm like, okay, can everybody not see what's happening here? And we're just burying our heads in the sand and pretending like it's okay. And it's like this whole plastic people, like,
Yeah.
we're all just smiling going, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
We'll
it's okay.
we'll deal with it. And it's fine. And it's like, no, that is exactly what society wants us to do, is to bury it inside, because we are, as human beings, meant to feel emotion, and we are meant to process it and move it out of us.
Move it.
Not
Yes.
meant to hold it inside. This is how we manifest disease. This is how we manifest illness. What is disease? Dis-ease. It is
Dis-ease.
disconnection from source. Illness, there's no I. It, like, in what is it, somebody was saying, there's no I in we-ness. It's not the I, the illness. It's the we-ness. Like when we remember that we are one, and it's not just you by yourself, and what you do to yourself affects the people around you, and vice versa. Like the way you treat yourself is the way you treat your neighbor. What did Yeshua teach us? Treat yourself as you treat your neighbor. Well, how do you treat your neighbor? Are you in competition with your neighbor all the time? Because if you are, that means you're in competition with yourself all the time.
With yourself. Yeah.
And instead of unconditional love, which is literally the basis of everything, and this is why I'm becoming so much more open and passionate about ecstatic dance, is the movement of that energy through your body, and providing a space for people who don't necessarily realize yet that we're living in an illusion that literally is like, you've got control over your own reality, and the world is a stage, and everything that we're looking at in America that's happening right now is part of a master plan to initially start us out in division, but to eventually awaken all of us to our true divinity, our true sovereignty, our true reality. And the mountain is something that has come up for me regularly in my spiritual awakening, of you are your own mountain. Like, you are your own mountain. You are literally climbing against yourself. And one of the first, so I started doing psychedelic, what's the word I want to work? Sacred ceremony art. When I first went through my awakening, I went to this Airbnb for like 4 months and was literally just like making art, opening ceremony, and like just seeing what came out. And one of the first pieces I made was, I called it Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And it was like a 3-piece set where it's like a body of water at the bottom, a valley in the middle, and mountain peaks at the top. And And when you played that the other night at the event, I just like chuckled to myself a little bit of like,
Okay.
it was a sign from my higher self. And it was one of those things, and I turned around and there was this, giant painting of Jesus,
The
of
giant
Yeshua
Jesus.
right there.
Yeah.
And I love that this event was in a church too, because part of my experience with what I've gone through and touching base with my spirituality, like acknowledging who I am, remembering, hi, we're multidimensional beings here
Yes.
having a human experience. I was very much persecuted for you've lost your way from the Lord. And I'm like, no, this is what he was here
This is what he
teaching us.
actually taught us.
Yes, this is what he was here doing.
Yeah.
And I've really allowed myself to like stay quiet about a lot of what I'm doing out of fear-based existence, which is exactly what we're the powers that be have been trying to keep us
Yeah.
in, because the more you stay in that fear, the more they're harvesting your energy, the less you can step into your purpose.
Yeah.
And the dancing is such, I mean, that's what our ancestors did for prayer,
Absolutely.
for prayer.
Absolutely.
Music is prayer. Dancing is prayer. Like it is all a way to get in touch with your higher self, with the, galactics, with all of it, with each other.
Yes.
And the way that it has been demonized through cultures and through different centuries
Mm-hmm.
and used to create negative vibration instead of positive vibration. I don't know where I was going with this. I just
It's all
talking
good.
about it. But you brought up the mountain, and it really like that hit me so powerfully when I was at your event the other night. And it, for me too, I love seeing multicultural events, especially in Baltimore,
That was
because
always the goal from the very beginning. Is like
yes,
I didn't want to just curate another like white centric ecstatic dance. I
uh-huh,
wanted to make sure that like everyone in Baltimore understood like what this space was. Like this is a space where you can dance. I'm sober myself. I have friends that have found sobriety, that have stepped away from the club life. I've always talked to them like, if you still want to go out and dance, like there's places to go do that where there's no bar, so you're not tempted to wrestle with the demons calling you to take a shot. Um, a lot of times I'll speak to women, be like, I know like you may want to go out and dance around other people, but going to the club is not always the best experience. You have to be concerned with fucking creeps putting things in your drinks, or all the men who don't know how to talk. They think it's okay to just walk up to a woman and grab her, or walk up to a woman and start grinding on her. It's like, I want to create a space for women to come and be able to dance without that.
I'm
Um,
so glad you brought that up too.
and also, yeah, just part of like dance. You said this before, dance has always been a ceremonial and medicinal thing for people. And like the goal is like, do we how do we craft that sort of ceremonial experience in today, you know? We don't necessarily have the ability to light a fire and have everyone outside and dance around the fire. I'm sure that's possible some places, not in the middle of Hamden. Um,
I mean,
without a
we could
permit
do
or
it
whatever.
without a permit.
Without a permit, and I'm not gonna go talk to the
Yeah.
police and get a permit. I don't talk to them about anything. But um yes, like I wanted to make sure that ecstatic dance was a very multicultural thing, and something that like everyone felt welcome there, and sort of deconstructing the the stereotype of what an ecstatic dance is. You know, the good thing about ecstatic dance, and I talk to a lot of friends that hold ecstatic dances in other cities that also like want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest challenges overall with promoting an ecstatic dance is like, how do you tell people about this in a world where we're all conditioned to just like scroll on our phones to figure out what's cool or like what they should be doing? Like, this is an event where we're not going to take pictures. There is no video. There is no way for you
Right.
to see what
What it looks
an
like.
event like ours looks like unless you attend it. So that's the challenge, is how do you show people that ecstatic dance is more than just hippies in Colorado flailing their arms around? Like, that is one specific event in one place. That is not a global representation of what this event is supposed to be for people.
I'm writing this down because I love the way you phrase that.
Okay.
Like, because that is a big, it really, and for me, I've been like nomadic bouncing around, which is my own like shadow stuff of what I've been going through, not getting out of my
Mm-hmm.
own way. But I've been in these areas where like I'm in West Virginia right now, and I'm like, there's nothing around here for this kind of event. And I'm like, where can I go find live music? Where can I go find some dancing? And everything's been that I've looked up has been like Baltimore, DC, or like some other places in Virginia. And it's like I drove
Mm-hmm.
like an hour and a half the other night to come to that event because I was like, no, I want to go move. I want to, and there's no coincidences. I was put in that. I
No,
went to
not at all.
that place
Yeah.
for a reason, and it is breaking the divide in the culture as well, and showing people. Like I keep asking, like Facebook has been such a big thing lately. Like I thought Facebook died, and so many people are like, how do you, I'm like, how did you find out about this event? And they're like, Facebook. And I'm like, oh, Facebook's like the
Mhm.
event place now. But
Yeah.
Eventbrite is the other one that keeps coming up. And I just feel like there's like it's all so spread out. Like, yeah, how do we normalize and communicate these types of events in a more effective fashion so that people know that they're happening and know what they're about? And and that and that, my friends, thank you, Grandma, my spirit guide, is like, that's why we're sending you on this cross country journey.
Mm-hmm.
that's why
There you
that's why
go.
you're doing this thing, looking for these places and
You're gonna
sharing it and
find.
reporting it. But
Yeah.
um, I'm really glad you brought up a safety aspect
Yeah.
because consent is huge.
Absolutely.
And I, in my healing nature, have always been like a hands-on healer. Like I was personal trainer for years and just my hands knew where to go on people. I didn't realize I was doing
Mm-hmm.
it at the time, but I still catch myself every once in a while talking to somebody and I'll put my hand on their shoulder, put my hand on their back, and I know that from me, it's because my hand knows that they need that there, but I catch myself going, I'm sorry, I touched you without asking. Is it
Yeah.
okay if I put my hand on you? And and I catch myself doing it because trigger warning. We're going to get into talking about sexual assaults a little bit, or at least I am. I am a survivor of sexual assault. I am a diagnosed PTSD survivor, which so many of us that are spiritually awakened right now are survivors of PTSD, of substance abuse, of anxiety, of depression, of sexual assault,
Yes.
because we agreed to come here and experience these things to crack
Right.
us open.
We signed up for
We
this.
signed up for this. And for me, going through my divorce and going through my court battle, I brought all of this up. Going into therapy and all of it just pouring out and getting into plant medicine, I was like, oh, all of these things happened to me that I stored away and never talked about and never made a big deal because, one, they were normalized. Like, scenarios where I was like, oh, that wasn't just like a drunken hookup. I was sexually assaulted. But the way that we treat those types of scenarios is so normalized in America that you don't consider it a sexual assault.
You
You
don't.
don't
Yeah.
talk to people about it. And so many of those occurrences came from being out at a bar and dancing with somebody, and all of a sudden, before
Yeah.
you know it, and then you're like, ugh. And I remember like when you're out with your girlfriends in a bar and some guy just comes up behind you and starts grinding on you, and you're looking at your friend across from you going like, what's
Yeah.
happening
Like,
back
it's
there?
like, is this good?
And they're like,
Is, yeah, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. That's,
right? And like, but then you don't think about what your body remembers from that experience, and the trauma that your body holds on to, the energetic imprint that your body holds on to from that clenching, that fear of like somebody is using my body for their own gratification. And then 10 years down the road, you hear a certain song come on, and your body is remembering that event, and your brain may not even necessarily
yeah.
put those things together right off the bat. So like ecstatic dance has been such that environment for me where before someone is dancing with you, they're looking at you. They're
They
making
have to look
eye
you in the
contact with
eyes.
you. They're putting a hand out to you. They are getting your consent of
Mm-hmm.
is this energetic? Do you feel this energetic
Yeah.
exchange? How do you
Yeah.
feel about this?
Yeah.
And that has felt like such a safe environment for me. I was a ballet dancer growing up
Okay.
and stopped because of all the trauma and what my body held on to. So finding ecstatic dance was a very freeing thing for me to be able to let that out. And I'm interested to hear your perspective on because at your event the other night, I love that everybody gets together afterwards. It's not just like the music shuts off and everybody leaves. Like,
Right.
you sit down in community afterwards and give people the opportunity to share what they experienced and share what's going on around them, and things like that. Have you had any ecstatic dance events where people at the end are like traumatized by experiencing anything, or like
Um. Well, before I answer that, I want you to know that I've heard, because of the closing circle where people get to share from the experience and the story, I've heard plenty of other people who have the trauma of like practicing dance as a child and then sort of getting into a part of life where they like stop dancing because it was like this was a thing that like was just supposed to be normal and natural that was sort of forced. I was forced into taking more seriously and not being allowed to just be a child with it.
yep.
So that's another group of people that like they find ecstatic dance and like this is so healing for me because I'm learning to like enjoy dance and movement again and like
Without the judgment, without the like
without the
the
judgment. Yeah,
performance
exactly.
anxiety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. As far as like the like closing circles, there have been a couple of people that have cried like tears of joy, just like
Yeah.
feeling like the relief. Um,
Which is
a
beautiful.
pop, yeah, a popular sentiment that gets shared is like, I've never been to this before. I was kind of hesitant to come. I wasn't sure what to expect. And like I realized at one point, like I've been living in my head for so long and just like I felt like things like shift. Like I felt like in my body for the first time and for so long. And they're like, I love the way I feel right now because of this. And like, just like people that have the gratitude that there was a space for them to come and get in touch with that part of themselves for the first time in a while.
So beautiful.
Um,
And that's how I've, like, you really did such a good job at explaining what I felt, because I always wanted to do hip hop and wanted to do jazz and things like that when I was younger, and didn't because of the judgment and the, like, for me a lot of it
Hmm.
was mean girl trauma,
Yeah,
and like the pitting of woman against woman in our society, instead of us creating this like supportive environment for each other where it's like, hey, you're
right,
really good at that. Like, it was a competition of, I have to be better than you at this, because
right.
we're fighting for roles, we're fighting for parts, who's going to be the leader of this, who's going to be the leader of that. And instead of just like, ooh, I really like what you're doing over there, we should collaborate with this and
We should
learn from each
collaborate.
other. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
you mentioned that you only do your event in Baltimore once a month. Where else are you doing events?
Um, well, I would say like 2, 3 times a year, I'll do a tour and try to play as many ecstatic dances on the East Coast as possible. Even before, but during I guess we'll say the peak of my club DJ era, I was touring and traveling a little bit. And that's always been a part of what I enjoy. Like, I enjoy traveling
Yeah.
just in general. And what I learned pretty early on in like being a DJ was like part of me experiencing a place I go is getting to DJ for the people there. Because again, like, I'm not planning a set, I'm not showing up to perform and force anything on people. I'm there to just sort of like, it's like a conversation. I'm there to be in a room with you guys. I'm there to be like, all right, this group over at the bar, it looks like they want to hear some Tupac. What happens if I play Tupac for them over there and to see them react? And then pick another group somewhere else in the room and start playing for them and just like coaxing all these people together onto the dance floor. Like, all right, well, now that we're all on the dance floor, what is this song for all of us to have this like
Yeah.
really joy? It's like, you don't get to talk to an entire room of people with your words, but you can do that with music as a DJ. Um,
And energy.
yes. So that's become a fundamental part of what I feel like I want to do when I go to somewhere that I've never
That's
been before.
so great. I want
Um,
to I want to come back to that too, and it's one of those things you brought up earlier about being like an open channel, and how the music
yeah.
is all around and it's just flowing through, coming into you and through your hands, and that's
Yeah.
so much of like dropping that ego and letting your channel open completely. But
Hmm.
you traveling and going to these places, like, that's grid work. That is you going to places that need
Absolutely.
land healing, where the people need healing, where the energies need shifting. And like, even you still doing club gigs, like, you may have a different lifestyle. Ding, my phone just dinged, because that's spirit going, uh-huh.
Yeah.
And like, you're there to bring an energy to a group of people that they wouldn't necessarily have been exposed to otherwise. And like we said earlier, there's no mistakes. You end up in this room because you carry something
Got carry.
in you that you are there to deliver, magic in you that you are there to deliver to the people in that
Yes.
room. And
Yeah.
there you are predestined to be in those places,
Yeah.
and your soul is calling you to the places that you end up in. That's why so many of us end up being, oops, 4:20. I just looked at my clock, and Colorado is calling me big time. That's when you said that hippies out in Colorado flailing their arms around. I was like, I'm gonna be one of them soon.
I'm gonna be one of them.
But that is so poignant, and traveling around to bring this message. And I'll tell you, it's something I've been called to do in my mission, if you will.
Hmm.
And I've been avoiding it, and I've been, because my children are still here, and kind of traveling around talking about this stuff and bringing music and bringing this topic of, disagreement doesn't have to be division, and unity and justice. And that is like big on my heart, especially talking to people in the populations that have been ignored, so to speak, because I feel so many people that I end up talking to at these types of events or meeting that are interested in these types of events are people that have been through trauma, that have been through PTSD and have
Mm-hmm.
used it to change their lives. And it's like, how do we get this message to people that are still stuck in that mode, and bringing it to the people and not making it something like you were saying that is like hidden behind these paywalls that you don't know what it's like until you
Yeah.
actually go there. And I feel like talking about it is one of the things
Talking
that we
about it.
do, is spreading the word of like, this is what this event is like, this is what it is
Yeah.
like when you go there, this is why we have it. And it's really beautiful, especially coming into, like you said, this another like whitewashed event where like the black community, especially in Baltimore, I mean the population is heavier black than white, but it
Yes,
is,
it's 70%, I
yeah.
believe.
But it's so marginalized, and again, done on purpose to
On
create
purpose.
division. It is
Absolutely.
it's done in purpose on this country, done on purpose in this country to create division, to create class
Mm-hmm.
systems, to create an anger of, we're mad at you because your group has more
Yeah.
than us, and we're,
Yeah. Let's blame each other instead of coming together and realize that we should really be blaming the
working together.
parasitic billionaires who take advantage of all of us.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
And it just race relations and racism. You and I were talking about this the other night, and was it Morgan Freeman who said, they asked him, how do you get rid of racism, and he said, you stop talking about it. Like, our words, our spells, our words create our reality. So the more that we talk about it existing, and I've brought this up before, like the Black Lives Matter movement, when you follow the money, it comes out to me as a whole nother movement that was created to, again, create more division
Well,
in
I
some
think
respects.
the origin of that movement is different than what it became because sadly people can be co-opted with money. It's like, oh, you're standing for something, but also if you just take this money, your own personal needs can be met.
And it becomes this controversial thing where it's calling me from Rockville. Um, it then turns into another situation where you hear people going, well, all lives matter. And that's when we all come into unity. Like, we're all being manipulated in some form or fashion, and have this divisive narratives put in place to keep us separated, and to keep us think that to make us believe that we are more divided than we actually are. But again, black culture, black population has been marginalized on purpose. You're intentionally
Yes.
put in situations where you don't have access to the same food, education, housing, like,
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah. There are
Purpose.
different groups of humans that have been exploited more than others. And at some
Yeah.
point, all of us, regardless of how much we have been exploited, need to come together to work towards ending the exploitation.
Yes, agreed. And like, heavy for me right now is like the like indigenous population, and that's a big calling of me doing some of this cross country stuff that I'm stepping into, is going to land that needs healing, and
Mhm.
and digging into researching the indigenous tribes that were in those areas prior to colonization,
Yeah.
because we come in with this mindset of like, oh well, America got started by immigrants, and it's like, no, it didn't. There was
Mhm.
there was
There
an
was a whole,
entire country
there
of
were
people here.
millions of people already
Yeah,
living on this land, living in harmony with this land.
in
And people
tribes,
from Europe, yeah, people from Europe showed up and just disrupted it all.
and said, we know better than you, and we're going to tell you
Yeah.
how to do it. And
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to eat these buffalo? We're going to kill them all. You
uh-huh.
don't need them.
Yep.
We brought you
And
pigs and cows and chickens. Blech.
and me having a spiritual awakening and tapping into, I'm being like, oh, I'm a shaman. My my very liberal family was like, we can't support you because you're culturally appropriating shamanism. And they've been right, and they're very like, everybody should be able to be who they are and be independent, and you know, all like equality, but I'm culturally appropriating shamanism, so they can't support me. And it's because that's what they've been taught to believe. And it's like, cultural appropriation is another thing that has also been created to keep us divided. And I'm like, I just joined like when I first had my awakening, I'm like, I just joined a shamanic community down the street run by a white chick named Becca. Like, I have met more white female shamans in the last year than I have actual like indigenous individuals. And it's not a specific one. It's a spiritual connection. It's not just now, do I want to go out and learn from indigenous shamans in the Midwest? Yeah, hell yeah, I do, because they're going to teach me some stuff. Like, it's all within here,
Mm.
but we're going to learn from each other, and I'm going to learn different traditions of doing things. But when you say shaman, you're looking at shamans, oracles, mystics, seers. Like, it's all witches. It's all they're all
Yeah.
in different terms for those who are in between worlds, those who can
Yes.
see
Yes.
between and communicate in between. And okay, so I don't call myself a shaman. I can call myself an oracle. Like, does that make you
Yes.
feel better about what I'm calling myself? And it it's that know thyself and know who you are, and for anyone else to tell you who you are supposed to be when you have gone within and identified your purpose and your soul and your spirit. And that's where we get off track, where it's like, I'm not allowed to tell you who you are, but you're allowed to tell me who I am supposed to be. And we can disagree on that, but it doesn't mean we have to be divided. And we've come to this place where it is turned into, we don't agree on the same thing. So you know what? We've got to be completely divided and we can't get along anymore.
There are, I mean, I guess this is maybe the flaw of there being multiple languages spoken throughout the world. Um, I think you kind of said it already, but you know, the term shaman was used by a specific demographic of people that inhabited a specific part of the world, where oracle is a term used elsewhere. You said witch is a different term for elsewhere. So, like, I believe we all need to take some caution with the term in which we choose to identify outwardly to the rest of the world, because, and again, cultural appropriation is a term that, like, is like a derivative of the concept of exploitation. There's a difference between appreciating a culture that you're not from and exploiting it. And I think when people use the term cultural appropriation, it is like, are they talking about appreciating it? Or are they talking about exploiting it? You
And
know?
and where it comes through for me with spirit with this, I like totally resonate with that. And what really has heavily come through for me is the fact that like, it is easily forgotten that, and again, because organized religion has really tried to dismantle the aspect of reincarnation, and that our souls come here multiple times to experience things. And it's like,
Mhm.
I've been every culture on this planet in another life. I have been from almost every country in another life on this
Yeah.
planet. I have experienced, I started doing past life regression therapy and gone back into past lives. And it's like, I very specifically in my journey in this life, what came through plant medicine for me was you're being asked to bring together your light and dark magic, your Cinderella
Mm-hmm.
magic, your Tiana in the swamps, and blend them together into your Earth Mother magic. Like this is the ways of the Druids. This is the ways of the Gnostic Yeshua, the Gnostic
Yeah.
Gospels, the Essenes. Like they were practicing earth magic. They were practicing
Absolutely.
plant medicine. They knew we came from the star people. This is what they were teaching in in European countries and Middle Eastern countries. And while people here in America, the indigenous here, we're teaching the same thing. We've gotten
Yes.
all these different cultures were teaching the same thing, but my spirit guides came in and said, no, this is who you are being asked to step into in this life, and we want you to be here to talk about this earth magic and coming back to the mother nature and coming back to the fact that we are all one. We are all a
Mm-hmm.
piece of each other, and that you have been here and experienced these other cultures in other lives. So the fact that I've always loved hip hop and loved rap music and loved African culture is because it's literally it's in my soul.
Yes.
I've been here and lived in that culture before, and people want to look at you like you're crazy when it's like, no, I literally did past life regression therapy where I remembered being on a boat being brought over here as a slave in another
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. And no, I haven't experienced it in this lifetime, but it is stuff that has come back for me very heavily, and
Yeah.
ancestral healing that I am doing because my soul lineage has, ding, my phone just went off again, has experienced it. And it's literally, I got this vision of when I was in my ayahuasca ceremony of literally my ancestors in the astral plane in chains, like still being in chains. I have this pain that I get in my shoulder blade that came through,
Mm.
that's like, no, this is literally like a slave chain that has been stuck in your tissue that we are going to visualize pulling out, because you're still carrying this on behalf of your family and it's not yours to carry anymore. And you go be your little shaman baddie self and you make some indigenous music and you do your thing and you respect the culture and bring light to the culture, and you're here
Yes.
to show people, no, America wasn't a bunch of white guys to start out with. It was an indigenous
It
culture
was
that
not.
lived in unity
Exactly.
with the land
Yes.
and respected the land, and it was all about sacred reciprocity. And that is what we've lost in this plastic people world.
Yeah.
And ecstatic dance is bringing us all back to that, because it all
That's the
comes from the
source.
movement. And that's, yeah, it is the source. And what did I read the other day? That was, dance is the way of communicating when you when you can't find the words. Can I ask you, I didn't get very in detail about my spiritual awakening in this episode. It was very abrupt and like very quick. And
Mm-hmm.
what was your experience kind of waking up to what in the world is going on in the world?
Huh.
Loaded question, right?
Kind of. I would say there have been different stages of it. For me, the initial one actually came at a pretty young age. When when you grow up in this country as a black person, the first sort of moment is like the first time you're called the N-word. And you're sort of like, it's the crossroads, like, how am I going to respond to this type of aggression? I think that's the first time, like, you start to see the world, like, okay, like, we're all just kids at the playground playing, and all of a sudden, like, this person wants to use this term to create a difference between them and I.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, prior to this, we were all the same being, you know? That's the first time you see the, like, societal wedges being drawn between all of us.
Do you remember how you responded?
The first time? I think the first time I just ignored it. I was just like, you know, you kind of already know, like, you feel an anger inside of you that is not even your own anger because you're like 7, 8 years old. But you already know that, like, that word carries a lot of weight. That word is used to me. It's like, I'm being called this because this person wants to make me feel bad. This person wants to use this word to harm me. And then it's like, if I respond to that by harming them back, properly channeling all the anger, the ancestral, like, DNA anger, like, I'm going to get in more trouble for punching this kid than he's going to get in trouble for calling me that.
For using, yeah.
So I think that was the beginning of just recognizing, like, we live in a fucked up system that's based on fear, division, and exploitation. Because then you start thinking about, like, what does this word really mean? Why does this word still matter if slavery is quote unquote over? I don't know. I think from a young age, I just always saw the world differently than, like, friends and family.
Yeah.
There was always a, like, I see the program. I know it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. You know?
I feel that. Can we take a minute to take a deep breath real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, let's, like, co-write this. Whew.
No.
That's heavy. That can
My entire life has been about building alternatives to the default. In college, I went to a school that's not a big party school. There's not even much, like, on-campus social life. Like, the college I went to was much more of, like, a commuter school, or, like, a school for, like, grown adults that are going back to school. But I lived on campus, and, like, my friends and I were like, what if we just started our own social club on campus? And what if we just took it upon ourselves to create more social events at this school than what the actual, like, residential life community was doing? Then after that, when I got into club DJing, nightlife is still probably one of the most segregated parts of the United States existence. You've got the black clubs and you've got the white clubs. And when I first started DJing, I was like, I'm not going to accept settling into DJing in one of those two. Like, I'm going to do my best to curate events that, just like what I do with Ecstatic Dance, I want everyone, regardless of who they are and where they're from, to feel comfortable and welcome at an event I'm DJing. And then I got to a point where I realized, like, this goal that I have, the missing piece is that I'm still basically inviting everyone into a safe use space for alcohol and drugs. And it's like, how do we remove the substance abuse from this container that's supposed to be a safe space for everyone to come together and dance? And then ecstatic dance was shown to me. I was like, this is it. This is the next step
Yep.
of creating this.
And I love that you brought this up. I definitely want to continue this conversation with you
Mm-hmm.
offline after we wrap up today and moving forward, because I
Yeah.
am like, you're speaking to my heart right now about creating safe space communities,
Mm-hmm.
especially also for spiritual people, because I feel like people that are really coming out with their woo woo right now, we're coming out with our woo woo on purpose, but
Yeah.
I like I have a really hard time just going to like places and having normal conversations with people and like pretending like I like what's actually happening in the world right now and the ascension of humanity isn't happening, because they look at you like you have 16 heads. And I'm like, I would
Yeah.
really like to be in some safe space communities to talk about this kind of stuff and how we co-create to be an example, because you can't force other people to wake up,
You can't.
and you can just show them these are the things that we're doing, and if you want to come be a part of it, come be a part of it.
Yes. Exactly. We have to be
And
leaders. We can't judge
yes,
them. We
no,
just have to remember that we're the leaders, and those that want to begin the journey will do it on their own
they'll
time.
pop in when they're
That's what
ready.
I, yeah, like I can look at my own journey into finding sobriety, and it's like I had friends that got sober 15 years before I did, and they're still some of my best friends, and they never judged me
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that I was still drinking or whatever. They were just like, when it's time, when you're ready, I'm here to support you in whatever way you need support, stepping away from the alcohol abuse and whatever into the next chapter of your life. And
Yes.
because of that, I've been able to look at the people that maybe haven't been ready to see that all of the food is poison, the water is full of chemicals, the air is poison, the 8-hour workday is just exploiting us, and we're just living a new form of slavery. We can't force people to become aware of that. They're going to become aware of it when it's time. We just have to
Yeah.
be the leaders, and we have to lead by example.
Yeah. Yeah.
The words may not resonate, but what I've learned is that people are observing how we're living, and they're observing. They see that. You know.
That's so powerful, and I personally am in this like massive crossroads right now where I 444 on the timer.
Yeah.
I had a very rapid ascension process and was able to like look back in my life and go, oh, that's where you were trying to wake up. Oh, that's where you were
Hmm.
trying to wake up. That's where you were trying to wake up. And this time around, it happened so rapidly. And I didn't have a community of people. Like, I would, even the shamanic community that I joined, like, I was out woo wooing the woo woos because of
Hmm.
just like the way my spiritual gift works, where I'm like, everything is something. And was still feeling like I was too much, even in those communities. And so I didn't really have a good grounding source. And it was even
Hmm.
like female communities where I still very much felt this competition of like, you can't,
Yeah.
not even question, but like provide an alternate opinion to the person that's leading the group, or else you are persona non grata. And it's like, we're not supposed to have anybody, like one person that's in charge of everything here. It's about what we're building together and everybody being able to bring in their own individual puzzle piece. And so I felt super isolated and just didn't have a grounding source. And that was also a karmic thing for me to learn of like, no, you're here to stand on your own and lead by, like, no one's coming in to fix it for you. And you have all this stuff, but you have to embody it as well. And the last like 6 months, I went through like a very like super serious re-traumatization event, like after my initial awakening, like serious
Hmm.
awakening. and especially losing my kids because of it, where everybody's like, you've lost your mind talking about all of this stuff. Like all of a sudden you don't want the kids to eat what they're eating. You have a problem with their snacks at school. You're talking to your water. And I'm like, yes, because it's sentient and it has memory and you need to
Yes,
bless
it
it.
has
You got to
memory.
bless your
Yes,
water. And they're like,
yes.
she's lost her shit and we don't
You
trust her
speak
to be around the
intentions into
kids.
everything. Yes.
Everything. And then it's like,
But at the same time, like, what do you like? I don't know what kind of house. Like, I grew up in a Christian household. Like, you pray over your food, but why is it weird to speak intentions into your water? The
and
same thing.
and when you talk about like positive affirmations and subconscious reprogramming and hypnosis and all that stuff, what do you think you're doing? You're going into your subconscious and reprogramming.
Right.
You're talking to the water in your body because your body is 70% water and it's sentient and it holds on to what you tell it. So when you tell
Yeah.
your body that it can heal and you're whole and you're happy and you're healthy over and over again, that's the programming you absorb. When you tell yourself you can't do something, when you tell yourself you're in lack and limitation and then that is what your body holds on to and remembers as well. And I spent the last 6 months after like losing my kids, and I have like been bouncing around from Airbnb, or actually I lived basically in the woods on campgrounds for most of the summer, where they're like, we need you to go ground and like be in Mother Nature. And then I went to Europe for a couple weeks, and when I ended up coming back, I've been like living in Airbnbs and bouncing around a little bit. And I know I'm doing grid work in the places I'm going to, but it's also been spirit going, you're not surrendering, and we asked you a year ago to literally like travel cross country, to get into music, to start talking about all of this, to embody and be a way shower of how you're changing your life, and you're not doing it. So we're going to continuously make you as uncomfortable as possible until you actually start doing it.
Until you do the thing.
And that is what I'm doing right now. I got to be out of this Airbnb on Friday morning. I have everything that I own in here right now, and I am literally going through packing up the essentials of what will fit in my trailer, donating everything else. And people are like, where are you going on Friday? And I'm like, well, I'm not entirely sure yet.
Figure it out on Friday.
But I think I'm going to head to like Massachusetts. Salem is calling me, and heading up to like Vermont to do some snowboarding and stuff and get into some music. But it is very much like looking for healthy, intentional communities, looking for pockets of places that are, ooh, my whole crown chakra just got so tingly. Going around and finding these places that are mushroom churches and ayahuasca churches and all these places that are using plant medicine to help. It's twofold for me, because I can, when I am clear and using my discernment properly and detoxed, I can spot a fake a mile away. And I just got so tingly. And they're like, yes, we're sending you around because there is also a whole sect of people using the spiritual guru guide, creating these, psychedelic events that are turning into unsafe containers.
Oh, absolutely.
And finding the areas that are doing it right, and finding the people that are doing it for money and further traumatizing, victimizing people. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
If
The
that
weird
wasn't a spirit.
The whole thing with like men that are just like using retreats and like all these events to still just like be predators.
Yes.
Like
And
stuff like that. Or people that are just taking advantage of, people are seeking healing. They're seeking answers. And people are just like, oh, I can sell you that for thousands of dollars. Like, give me
I was
your
going to say
money.
thousands of dollars.
Give me your money for answers to your problems.
Right. And this is where I have a huge issue with it, where it's like, okay, money is powerful because we give it the power. And when we actually go back to the times where people had trades, where we did things because we liked them and we were good at them, and then we traded our resources instead of having to pay money for things. And it's like, we can have a sacred energy exchange where you are compensating me for the time that I put into something, but to be charging people thousands of dollars for plant medicine, like, I'm
Yeah.
charging you for Aya. I am charging you for Mother Aya. I'm charging you for feathers. I'm charging you for cannabis. Like, that is where the plants are not meant to. You could, sure, compensate me for the amount of time that it took for me to create whatever herbal remedy that I made for you, or
Yeah.
whatever, or the supplies that I needed to make it. But charging for the medicine itself is insane. And also putting it behind a paywall, because guess what?
I was just about to say that. It's making it not accessible,
Yes.
probably to the
To the
people
people
that
who
need
need
it the most.
it. Yes, to the people that need it the most. And that's where when I was getting into like the marginalized communities are,
Yeah.
guess what? The most fucking traumatized. They're the ones who need this stuff, and they're the ones who aren't getting it because we're going, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you can't come to this retreat unless you have $5,000.
Right.
And like, that's bullshit to me. And
Absolutely.
I am so grateful. And I don't want to be like Pat calling the kettle black here, because I have been in this situation that over the last year I haven't worked. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had an IRA from my life before I was a stay-at-home mom for my corporate life, and I was fortunate enough I cashed that out and lived off of it for months. I was not
Nice.
necessarily smart about the way that I spent it all, because that was also a karmic lesson. But me going into this journey, I got money from our house that we sold. I got money from my car that I sold. I'm getting a settlement from the end of my divorce that's going to help me like restart in this journey. And I have been blessed by the universe that resources have appeared for me as
Those
I have
resources.
needed them. But now, like, stepping into a lot of my mission is working with the people that need the help that they're not getting, because the paywall is put in place by a bunch of people. And I myself have experienced multiple healers in my journey just over the last year that don't care about the integration, that want to give
Right.
you a session, take your money, charge you
And
an
then,
arm and a leg, and then don't give a shit about what happened to you
right.
afterwards.
Then they
Like,
just shuffle you off so they can make room for the next group of people to
yeah.
show up with
And
money.
yes, and that is when I was training in a gym. I worked a lot with aging populations and people with chronic pain, and that was what turned me off from that. Is it became about it was a job where nobody gave a shit about like spending the extra time with people that needed it. They wanted you to fit as many people as you can, and these slots overwork yourself, because all of your time was money. And it became about how much can you produce instead of how many people are you
How
actually
much?
realistically helping.
Yes.
Because when you're seeing this person for 30 minutes and you don't have time to dig into stuff with them because you got to go on to the next person, because you're back to back to back to back to back, and you can't leave those 15-minute breaks in there to talk to somebody afterwards, because then that's 15 minutes you're losing where you could be generating income from somebody else. And it's like, this isn't what we're here for.
This is not what we're here
This is
for.
not what we're here for. And the paywall is just like, yeah, your time is valuable, and there are people out there with the money that will pay you for it. But guess what? Okay, go ahead and make that $10,000 offer for the wealthy people that can do it, and then you turn around and use that money to be able to offer your services to the other people that need it
The
without
people that don't
having
have,
to charge
yeah, they
it.
can't afford to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I worked with a lady who I went through a very intense cord cutting ceremony, like super intense, and really had a hard time integrating it. I'm still integrating it, and reached out to her the day after and said, like, I'm having a really rough time with integration right now. And I got an emoji of prayer hands. And I'm like, bitch, did you just send me an emoji? Like, you told me I got new roots yesterday, and
Mm.
I'm telling you I'm having a hard time integrating, and you send me an emoji? Like, where are the ones that really care? And that's where being the example. And I'm at that crossroads myself right now, where it's like, okay, this is it. You're getting rid of everything, and you are going on this journey to use your gifts to to highlight all of this and do this kind of like investigative work and grid work and looking for my next spot to settle down, which I really, Spirit is coming in hot and heavy with, you're going to Colorado for a little while, baby. And I'm getting called out there to work with Mother Cannabis. And especially in the respect of chronic pain. And that's the other aspect. I know you have to go soon, don't you?
Yeah.
I would love to have you on for a part 2 because there's
I'm down to do a part 2.
so much we could talk about.
Part 3, part 20.
Yeah, however many, you're welcome back anytime.
Perfect.
And these spaces where we have communities where we call them safe spaces and we say no drugs. This is where I get into it sometimes too, because in America, what we call medicine are drugs, and what we call drugs a lot of times are medicine. And being able to utilize plant medicine, like I used truffles for the first time when I was in Amsterdam when I went to an ecstatic dance event. And I will tell you what, some people would have said you were on drugs during that, and I was sitting with the plants, and I had an incredibly transformative experience that wasn't about anybody else around me. It allowed me to go within while I was there and release things that I otherwise probably would not have been in tune with releasing while I was in there. So that whole space of like, what are we calling medicine and what are we calling drugs in these safe containers, and what safety precautions are we providing for people that are using the plant medicine and other indigenous medicines? Because there's also herbs that, like chamomile, you put a whole bunch of chamomile in a jar with some hot water and drink that water, that plant is going to show you something. And
that is a plant, yeah.
Right, and that is medicine. Some other people like it. So our definition of what is plant medicine, what is drugs, like that to me is a whole nother like subject matter to dive into in these sacred containers as well. And and like you said, these gurus out here there's so many documentaries that I've watched. What was that one of the guy that started the Nexium sex cult where, have you ever,
Whoa.
Check that out. It's on HBO. And it was all based on higher consciousness, tapping into your higher consciousness. But when you go back and watch everything, I mean, it was all subconscious reprogramming, where he basically was creating these containers for sex slaves, but using it in like, oh, you're taking control of your body and this is what spirit wants you to do. And that's where it's like we went off track in the 60s and 70s, where it was like party time era, where they were getting in tune with the higher consciousness through the music and the dance and the plant medicine. But then it got turned into that free love concept, where everybody also forgets that when you are having a physical relationship with somebody that is not energetically aligned with you, you're pulling in their karma, you're pulling in their energy, and your body is holding on to it. And then all of a sudden we just have all these sex cults. It's like,
yes.
no, this is not what it was about, people.
There's a lot of people. I've run into this problem with, in the world of ecstatic dance, there are certain people that put off cult leader vibes. I could say more about that, but,
I went to a tantric shamanic retreat in Belgium. That's how I ended up going to Europe for a couple weeks this summer.
Sounds like you almost got inducted into a cult. Yeah.
And I knew that and it was going from victim to creator. And the basis of it was very in alignment. But I knew I was going into it not to have sex.
Yeah.
Mine was more about unleashing my own shadow and finding my own sensuality. But the conversation that I had with the girl that ran it, it was an environment where they were allowing and providing resources for penetration, and you're not judging anybody for the decisions that they choose to make. But then I had a conversation with her afterwards where she said, well, even in these sacred containers, I've never had intercourse with my partner here because it's such a sacred act that is between. And I'm like, but wait, but then why are we facilitating a container to encourage other people to do it, knowing that it is a sacred act meant to be had with somebody that you're genuinely energetically aligned with, as opposed to just a free-for-all where everybody is turned on and going at it, and it's being presented as a, like, you taking ownership and sovereignty of your body. And that is where this is, like, that's where this whole, like, feminist, modern day feminism pits women against each other, and this, like, sovereignty over your body is like, I said no. That was my sovereignty in that container, was people who wanted me to do things that in the past, the old me would have submitted to doing because I felt pressure and felt like I needed to do it to fit in. And the sovereign me said, no, I'm not interested. Thank you.
Right.
No, thank you. And yeah, I think that's a good segue for, like, a whole nother, like, where is that line of providing safe containers and people that are turning it into a whole nother new age spiritual culty vibe.
A culty, yeah. Yeah. Or they're just doing it because they want to make easy money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, and you know what we didn't talk about, which this is another segue into why you want to change your name from DJ James Nasty.
Ooh.
So we can talk about, unless you want to talk about it. I know you have a timeline. I have another hour until I have another meeting, but
got about 20 minutes.
Okay. I have next my psychedelic concierge meeting. I joined a group to work on providing psychedelic concierge services to people who want to use plant medicine for trauma healing.
That's good. People need that. So people don't just, like, go buy a bag and just...
And it's a network of people across the country with legal support to help protect you as a plant medicine facilitator. The guy who runs it, his name's Zappy Zappelin. I know it sounds funky, but he's got a couple of documentaries on YouTube. And the first one I watched is... The Truth of Consciousness, I think. But he interviews Deepak Chopra and Ram Dass and, some very high-end, this guy's story. He was like a billionaire or whatever, sold his company and started researching spirituality and plant medicine and higher consciousness. And, like, in the beginning of the very first episode, he's like, did Deepak Chopra just tell me to go to the jungle and do ayahuasca? And he's like, yeah, sure did. He sure did. And getting into it too is, like, some of the point here is that with the plant medicine, it's not necessarily about, like, oh, I'm tripping on mushrooms every weekend. It's like when you sit with the medicine and it shows you what it wants to show you. Like, I did ayahuasca one time. Aya does want me to sit with her again, but it's like my whole family is like, we don't agree with what you're doing. And I'm like, you act like I'm in the basement sacrificing chickens doing ayahuasca every day. And it's like, I did it one time.
Yeah, one time. Yeah.
I can't just... I digress. So tell me why we are changing persona from DJ James Nasty.
So I got the name James Nasty as a nickname in college. And when I got my first, like, real club gigs from a friend that I met earlier on in my college career, he's like, what's your DJ name? I was like, I don't know. I haven't thought of one. He's like, we'll just use James Nasty since that's what everyone calls you. I was like, oh. I never liked the nickname. It's like a play on my last name. I never liked it. I had to deal with a record label that was like, they liked the name, and they had this whole vision for, like, what kind of persona I should embody that goes with the name. That, again, wasn't really who I was. when I was down to play the part.
Ooh, the way you just said that. Playing the part.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Persona.
it's performance, you know? When you're a DJ, you're a performer. Rappers, they're performers, you know? Um, we talked about, you mentioned Tupac a long time ago in this conversation. Like, what we all know of Tupac was some percentage poor performer, some percentage the authentic Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like when I was working with this label, what people publicly knew me as became much more performer than authentic me. And you have to just, I've been a full-time musician since 2012, and sometimes you have to just be the performer, put on the show for the people. And not just when you're DJing, but when you're just out and you go to see someone else perform, or you're at the cool restaurant that everyone goes to. You have to put on that face. You have to code switch. Whatever it is, it's like an ugly part of that part of the music industry. And I don't want to do any of that anymore.
Yes. I was just
I
about to
don't,
say, I think that's what needs to change.
and it starts with changing the name. As soon as I would love, no, I would love, I'm going to have a new stage name that I use exclusively for ecstatic dance, conscious dance events, festivals, and all of that. That I could just put an end to one chapter of my musical career and step fully into this new one. Like right now, I'm in this gray space in between
Shedding.
these two chapters because because the new name has not found me yet. You know, I don't know if
It'll
it's
find
like,
you when it's time.
yeah, I don't know if it's just like something that I'm supposed to do that I just haven't been able to do, or if it's going to get bestowed upon me, like my original stage name. But it's just,
How about, may I offer some spiritual knowledge for you?
yeah,
Some wisdom here versus knowledge. Ask and you shall receive. Sit with yourself quietly for a little while and ask what it is, because your soul already
hmm
knows what it is. It's already
yeah.
in you. Don't let somebody else give it to you. You decide what it is, and let it come out
So I guess
naturally.
that's the struggle, is like trusting whatever that is, that's letting the name come out through me instead of just being like someone else. You know, I just believe that someone else is the channel for this name. The same way, like when people go to a party, like I'm the channel for the music. I just have always been on the belief that someone else is the channel for this name. You know, someone else can see me in a way that I don't see myself. And that person sees me and sees the name that identifies this version of me better than I can see it.
Ah, I resonate with that. I can understand that. I mean, you see
Mhm.
Elizabeth Fleckenstein on my name down here,
Yeah,
and that's my birth name. I
yeah.
started going by Liz, like end of middle school into high school, because somebody else gave me that name, and I kept it. I kept it in high school because we had to wear name tags. I went to Catholic school. We had to wear name tags,
Same.
and my full name didn't fit. So I
Mm.
started going by Liz, and I kept it all through college. And like people that knew me from childhood, my best friend, my family, they all still called me Elizabeth. And then another
hmm
sect of people called me Liz. And going through my spiritual awakening, my spirit name that came to me was Kaya. And
Okay.
it is related to her.
Got
I
you.
I went back into, so this is my shamanic persona, personality, soul I had a life in Jamestown, Virginia during the settlement where
Okay.
I fell in love. I'm on a twin flame journey, by the way. So wild. I was there with my twin flame, who was a Scottish slave who was brought over as part of the settlement. And in that life, I was like black sheeped because I fell in love with a white man.
Yeah.
And it was like I am being asked now to very much step into that voice persona of being outspoken about the fact of like, no, you can't tell me that we all come from the one and that we're here as, you know, we come from the star people and we respect each other, we're all one,
Hmm.
and then tell me I'm not allowed to fall in love with him because he's a white man. He's a slave too. Like, we've
Yeah.
all been enslaved in this situation.
Yeah.
And and I died in childbirth in that life.
Mm.
Due to a hip injury, which has followed me through into this life as well. And it was also the reason in this life that I was unable to give natural birth to both of my
Natural
children.
birth.
I
Wow.
had to have C-sections. I tried my darndest with that first one. But me now, like Kaya came to me in a channeling. And I have just recently, like when people ask me my name, I have used Kaya. And I have felt a little bit like I'm integrating her and
Okay.
that maybe I'm not necessarily meant to keep that name consistently. I am returning to kind of an original version of myself because it's like who are you without all the labels? Who are you in this life? And it's like most of the time the person that you are forming into is an older version of yourself
Yes.
without all of the fear, without all of the programming.
Mm-hmm.
And it has felt very fragmented for me, like you said, of almost having a performative persona where it's like in some groups I'm Liz, in some groups I'm Elizabeth, in some groups I'm Kaya. And that to me has almost felt like I'm preventing myself from stepping into an authentic role by allowing myself to have different personas depending upon which group I'm
Yes.
in. And now it's like, you pick and you go with it because you are now
Yeah.
shedding all of the olds. You're walking away from basically everybody that was part of your life before now, and you are going into a whole new realm. And ooh, going into a new realm.
Whole new realm.
Like very Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth.
Yeah.
And I get to decide. Like, I get to decide what I want to go by. And like you said, I have not allowed myself to sit down and decide yet what I'm going to go through. And I need to give myself the same advice of sitting quietly and allowing it to come through to me.
Allowing it to come through.
Yeah. Because everything we have is, I did a really, I'm in this other group, Soul Purpose Tribe, which has been like amazing to be in a group of
Mm-hmm.
people who are all channeling, who are all highly intuitive, who are all taking big steps to make an impact in New Earth and try to come together. And we ran all of our human design reports and our
Yeah.
gene keys. And we put all of our gene keys in like AI and ChatGPT to get a report and like put them together and see how we would best fit together to co-create as a group. And it's so nice to be talking to a bunch of people who don't think I'm like insane for being like, yes, I channel with
Yeah.
extraterrestrials. But we did a meditation the other day, and the lady that ran it reached out to me afterwards and said, Yeshua has a personal message for you. And he said, your higher self has all the answers. Connect with her.
Mm.
And that's for all of us. We all have a higher self that has all the answers, but allowing yourself to sit still and quietly long enough to actually get them.
To get there. Yeah.
Yep. And I've been so worried about all this. I'm pointing around at all this stuff that I'm going through and getting rid of right now and keeping like, well, once I get through all this, I can do that. And it's like, you're not going to get through all of this until you do that.
Mm.
Oof. Well, that just hit. Man, man, if that is it just slap you on the tush, spit in your face,
Yeah,
fantastic. Like most of the time when you think you're giving somebody else a piece of advice, you're giving it to yourself at the same time.
that happens to me all the time.
Uh-huh. What
Yeah,
is your, do you find yourself to be more like clairaudient, clairvoyant, like how do you get your messages and downloads?
probably more clairaudient.
Which would make
Yeah,
sense with the music.
yeah.
Yeah. Pick up on stuff that's just going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a fascinating conversation. I love it. This is what
Mm-hmm.
my podcast was missing, was other people to talk to. I mean, I think I'm great, but
Yeah,
it's,
sometimes just some extra great people make it more greater.
yes.
I uh I have synesthesia, so like I've always like seen like sounds have also represented colors to me.
Uh-huh. Is that just like when your eyes are closed in meditation or like when your eyes open operating?
Both.
Okay.
When my eyes are open, it's more of a what's a great way to describe it? It's more of a like situational sound, like a certain sound is like this isn't the right sound for this environment. Or I hear a lot of music and like what is the right environment for this music? Like, is this a daytime song? Is this a nighttime song? Is this an inside song? Is this an outside song? Is this like a enjoy it by yourself song? Is this an enjoyed with other people song? Like, music and sound to me also is like the colors are also associated with different environments. It's like if a song is yellow to me, it's like, all right, well, yellow is like an inside at nighttime color. But it's like,
Interesting that yellow would be an inside nighttime color to you because, and that's where everybody's different. To me, yellow would be like a sunshiny, out in the open.
I think the color spectrum, the warmer colors are usually more geared towards when the sun is down and the indoors.
Interesting
But
perspective.
yeah, a lot of the outside, a lot of like things that I would perceive like more like an outside song or a daytime song are gonna be like a blue or a green or a purple.
And those are your like upper chakras. And those warmer colors are your lower chakras. So when you're getting into
Mm-hmm.
root, solar plexus, gut is
Yeah.
when you're, which makes sense when you're thinking nighttime and cozy intimacy, like into your sacral
Mm-hmm.
chakra and your gut. And
Yeah.
interesting. I love that
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. The upper chakras are like daytime, the like expansive, like yeah. I never thought of it that way till you mentioned that, but yeah.
Because everything, when you bring in the colors, everything aligns with those chakras too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like eating for the colors of the rainbow and dressing in like the colors in the environment around you. What is that? What are they
Yeah.
speaking to for you?
Yeah.
Fun. Do you have a process yourself when you are making music versus like looking at music for a DJ set when you are making your own music? Do you have a process that you like to use to go into your own music creation?
Oh, absolutely. My creative process starts with, again, like the intention of like, what is the environment that this piece of art would best be enjoyed in? What is the environment? You know, when I'm creating music for like an ecstatic dance set, it's like, what part of this dance journey am I creating a song for? Am I creating something for like the beginning part? Am I creating something for the climax? Somewhere for the building? Like I sit down and I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna paint the picture of what do I want to create, and then from there, the sounds sort of come together to fit the desired time and space.
I love that.
You know, some people I think just like they channel. Some people just channel whatever they're currently feeling into their music, but I'll sit down and be like, I want, like, as an exercise, what emotion do I want to channel with this, or what space do I want to channel with this?
Yeah.
And then I'm able to just like let it flow through me.
I'm so excited to continue this conversation because I personally, the block that I've had when sitting down creating music, I've been carrying all these instruments around with me. And literally, I just was sitting here going, this is what you want to do. You got to come up with your own creative process for this. And you haven't done it because you got too much noise around you. And that's why, like, it's time for all this shit to go that you're carrying around and channel it through the music, but you got to get all the stuff out first. Which part of what I have to get out emotionally is through the music, but the physical stuff that's like weighing you down and distracting you, and the like, again, the constant feeling of like I have to do. I got it.
Yeah.
I said do. You got to get rid of all this
You just
stuff.
said got to get rid of all this shit.
Yeah, and it's so distracting, and that's why it's like, yep, we want you down to the essentials because you're starting fresh, you're starting over, and this is where we're going. But you can't get that clear channel when you got so much static and noise around you, and all the stuff that's around you carries an energetic, emotional weight too, and it's just stuff. Like what's meant for you will come back to you if it's meant for you, and the rest of it you weren't meant to be holding on to anyway. That's the same with emotional.
Yeah, I have too much stuff currently too.
Yes.
I've never lived at like one address for very long through most of my adult life. And I've been in this house now for 4 years or more. And yeah, I'm just like, I look around, it's like, I've just accumulated too much stuff because I haven't had to pick it up and take it somewhere after a year or two.
Yeah, and that is the story of my life for the last 6 months is that me moving around too much is I've like every time you get somewhere you get so settled that like you have too much unpacking, and then you got to get up and move again. You're not getting anything accomplished in each spot because you're too busy unpacking and then repacking everything, and that's why we just want you to get rid of it and just get on the road, lady. Like, I'm giving myself a speech here right now, and it's happening in the next 2 days. And I literally repeated a pattern of, instead of just getting rid of these bins, I brought them all in here so I could say, what am I keeping? What am I getting rid of? And now it's like I started to try to go through everything. And it's like, you got to be out of here in 2 days. And you have stuff you want to do. Like, stop going through everything. Get a bin for your camping stuff, a bin for your clothes, one bin of art supplies, and like, and go.
Yeah.
Like,
just go. Yeah. Everything else you need will find you when you need it.
Yep. This is me looking at all this. I will say the hardest thing that I've had, the things that I've had a hard time getting rid of are books, because I am just like, I constantly want to absorb and learn. I know my whole crown chakra just started tingling. And like art supplies to create with. And it's like, again, give it to somebody else for right now, and the stuff that you need will come back to you.
Totally.
Ugh. Thank you for your gift of today. And I want to talk more about your events that you have coming up. What's your next? Give me some plugs on what you got coming up that you want people to know about.
Let's see. Ecstatic Dance Baltimore is the first Friday of every month at St. Luke's Church in Hamden. On Instagram, it's Ecstatic Dance Baltimore. You can also find the event on Facebook and Eventbrite. I'm not DJing the February dance, I have a friend from DC, Dante Baker, who was one of my like ecstatic dance idols when I first got into it. Like Dante Baker was the dude in DC. He still is the dude. Um, I think he's doing like the full journey, like opening, DJing, and closing Sound Bath the first Friday of February. We have another guest DJ in March, so I won't be DJing Ecstatic Dance Baltimore again until April, probably as part of my spring tour. Uh, I'm sure at some point before then I'll be doing an Ecstatic Dance DC.
Okay.
They DC's dance is every Thursday. They gather every Thursday. They're also very present on Instagram if you want to find out about their event.
When you do your tour, where are you finding where are you finding your events?
Mostly just connecting with the other people. Just like you find another event on Instagram, you message them like, "Hey, what is your process for booking guest DJs?" Like I used to book my club DJ tours 10 years ago or more. Like that is the one part of the music business that like I mastered pretty early on, is just like playing that game of getting someone in another city to book you.
Yeah. Well, I want to know
So
about your tour as you're planning it, where you're going to be, so we can
yeah,
share that with people.
it
And
should be. I mean, I have a lot of, for the most part, I'm going to do Baltimore, DC, Richmond,
okay,
Charlotte, Asheville, Charleston,
all places I
Atlanta.
love.
Yeah, like that's like my circuit. That's like my typical circuit is like down through the southeast. Um, there's been some changes in the ecstatic dance scene in Philadelphia that I think will make it possible for me to make my Philly ecstatic dance debut.
Fun.
Hopefully to add New York to the fold. Columbus. I feel like Columbus. I think Columbus is what I'm most. Nashville. I played in Nashville. I'm going back to Nashville. Then hopefully I'll be able to get to Columbus from Nashville. Because the other challenge is some of these events are only like once or twice a month, and like trying to get your routing dialed in
Yeah.
well so you're not away from home for too long, or you have to come back home in between, or you have to stay somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the challenge. The challenge is like, how do you
The
drive
logistics.
in one big circle and hit all these places without having to double back or spend too much money staying in one city for an entire week because there's nothing to do in between, or you
And
come home to go back out and all those things.
we'll definitely follow up, because logistics, that's what I used to do, and like the mapping
That's
and
a
the
huge, yeah.
planning and figuring that out. But I am totally inspired by you. And
Ooh, I have one more other thing to plug.
oh, go.
With the logistics, I started a collective recently called the Kete Collective,
How do you spell that?
and it is Kete,
Okay. Why did I just
and
lose
it
it?
is going to be an artist collective for it's going to be one part like booking agency, one part like talent development for marginalized people that want to get more involved in DJing conscious dance events like ecstatic dances.
Yes.
Currently the static dance DJ is usually like a white dude, and I want to use the resources I have available to me to help people who aren't that get more into this world.
I love it. Where do we find information about that?
There's an Instagram that's
Okay.
not really being used for the most part. It's just me with an email address that's reaching out to events on the behalf of other DJs that, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
I'm
talk about
putting
how
more
we
to that.
can, yeah, how we can
Yeah.
co-create
Yeah.
with that, because I think that's absolutely amazing. And like I said, I'm getting into this because I have a passion for highlighting these positive events and letting people know where they are, how to get to them, and
Exactly.
creating those hubs for communicating. Like, hey, do you live a sober lifestyle? Are you a spiritual person looking for community and going, there's nowhere to go nightlife wise that doesn't involve everybody being intoxicated? Like,
Right.
let's
Yeah.
co-create some sort of communication and community tool to bring these
Yeah.
events and things to light so people know where to find it and know how to
Yeah.
get
To help
involved with them.
exactly, to help people find the spaces that they want to be in, so
Yes.
that we're not just all in our homes,
Yeah, because we're not
separated from each
meant to
other.
be isolated. That's why COVID was a big old
Mm.
scam, to keep us all
Yeah.
isolated from one another. You couldn't go to church, you couldn't go to the gym, but you could get McDonald's and go to the liquor store,
Right.
right?
Hmm. Weird. Weird.
Mm-hmm. So
Weird. I thought they
strange.
public health, right? They're supposed to be concerned about the health of the public, but
Yeah.
that was not what they were. It's not what they do.
No, the name of my YouTube channel that I started to like track my journey is called Hunt for Healthy.
Oh, okay.
And like,
I love that.
yes, we're on the hunt for the things that are actually healthy, not just organizations that are presenting themselves
Mhm.
as healthy, and also very much related to like follow the money, because who's funding certain
Yeah.
things is really
Hmm.
tied into where are you spending your money, where are you spending your time, because it's all
It's
interwoven.
all. Yep, an all tangled web of
Yep.
exploitation and greed.
100%. And I just want to say thank you again for being here today. We will absolutely have you back for part 2, part 3.
Oh
There's
hell
so
yeah.
much more to talk about, and to highlight events that you're doing, to talk about your collective. Like,
Mm.
it's all about the co-creation, and like that's what we're stepping into right now, and just finding those niche spots of like, who am I co-creating with, and how and when and
Yeah.
where and why, and all of that will fall in place. But I really
It'll
enjoyed
all
this
come together.
conversation today.
I know. Me too. Thanks for having me. I'm so
Thank
glad that
you.
you approached me and invited me on.
Me too. And I know I've got your Instagram and email. I'm going to email you my the rest of my contact information so we can follow up on some other stuff
Yes.
outside of here, and even talk about
Okay.
maybe some collaborative travel plans too, because all the places you're going are places I'm interested in as well. And
Perfect.
yeah, just this was so good.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I am gonna, so that I don't lose this recording again like last time, I'm gonna play my outro music instead of trying to add it in separately. And we're gonna say
All right.
thank you to DJ James, not nasty anymore, to
Not nasty anymore.
TBD.
Yeah.
And we will have you back and see you soon. And love, brother.
Love to you too.
Love,
Thank
love,
you.
love. Thank you. That was a
Hmm.
good 2 hours and 17 minutes. I gotta pee.
Yeah, me too.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Yes.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
How do I end this?
Recording. It'll cut you. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, I guess it. All right.
Yeah. Let's
Huh.
get it.
We're still just here. Wait.
It's fine, because I'm playing outro music. Bye, everybody. That was fun.